All right, well, let's go ahead and get started, Chris, if you're okay. So
Absolutely, yes.
I know a lot of you are still coming on the webinar. We'll let Chris introduce himself a little bit, but I wanted to thank Chris first for coming on and sharing your expertise with us. We really do feel grateful and lucky to have Chris teach us about grants, loans, and scholarships. It's a big deal, and a lot of you over the years we've worked with, and Chris has worked with, been able to find some really amazing opportunities. You know, if you don't have the capital to invest in your business, to invest in your real estate, you can't be successful. And Chris has some incredible ways of helping you find that capital through grants, loans, and scholarships. Like you said, free money, quote unquote, right? There's so much money out there to be found and so many programs that you can certainly qualify for. There've got to be so many options out there. Like we talk about with taxes, if you don't think you can deduct it, well, turn the page. You can find more deductions down the road. I think the same thing is with the grants. Well, if you don't qualify for this one, just turn the page. There's more qualification and programs out there than I can even imagine, I'm sure. So, Chris, we're so excited to have you. You've helped a lot of our students out over the years. This is a great group. They're excited to meet you. Go ahead and share your screen. Let's see if that's working okay. Looks good.
Awesome. Yeah. There we go.
I'll turn the time over to you. Yeah, looks really good. You can share a little bit about yourself, and then you're okay with doing some Q&A at the end there.
Absolutely. We'll do Q&A at the end, make sure people can get their questions answered. And I see that Larissa's raising her hand again. I'm not sure what it is. So if you can take care of the chat stuff,
yeah.
Kendall, that's great. I'll do the talking. And that way you can help people out with questions or post them there. But I'll do all Q&A at the end, and we'll answer their questions. I did do some digging on the internet. I found these great photos of you and Don. I'm not sure why you look happier than Don does, though, Kendall.
Yeah, he doesn't like that picture, but I like it. He looks good.
Well, send me a happier version. I'll stick it on the slide here.
Deal. I like it.
All right.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
Fantastic. All right, you guys. Well, welcome. Thanks a lot for joining us here. I know you had 3 full days up until yesterday, and now we're here on, I guess, a 4th bonus day. I'll go just about an hour. Won't be too long. So depending on where you are in the country, if you're on the East Coast, obviously it's getting a little bit later in the evening. If you're in Hawaii or somewhere like that, it's obviously still quite early, but let's get started. Grab some note paper and a pen, because I'll be giving you some websites. You're going to want to write these down, and you can refer to them later. I don't want you to go off and look at them as we go, because oftentimes if you are not careful, you can accidentally log off the webinar. You'll miss the most important thing I'll say, which is the very next thing I'll say after you accidentally log yourself off. So don't look at websites while we're going. Write them down is my point. And when we're done, then you can go and do the things I'll be showing you how to do here on the slides, etc. So with that being said, as Kendall mentioned, I've been doing this for a long time, close to 20 years, helping people access government grants and funding, help thousands upon thousands of people do this successfully, receive grants from the government and private sector. We're talking millions of dollars raised by my clients over the years, multiple millions of dollars, I should say. And it's for all kinds of things, for business, for education, for real estate. I even helped a client receive a grant to go climb Mount Everest. That was a few years ago. And so it's not limited to just business, etc. There's grants for all kinds of things, but the most common ones that we find that people are most interested in is funding a brand new business or expanding one they've got. And that's where I can show you how to find this money from both government and private sector funding. Also, it could be for real estate investing or just fixing up your own property that you want to live in yourself. So real estate investing and upgrades. And there's also the all-important education, which we'll talk about as well, because a lot of people on here want all 3 of those. Maybe that's your case too. Now, my background really is as a real estate investor. Prior to that, I was broke for 20 years. When I say broke for 20 years, what I mean is I had a job. So I worked the grind, the daily grind. I was a corporate employee, working my way up the ladder, living paycheck to paycheck, 60-hour work weeks, nothing to show for it. Didn't own a home, I was renting, and I didn't like the roommate I had. So with that being said, I got into real estate years ago, over 20 years ago. Got quite good at it, but early on in real estate, I learned about government grants for real estate investors from a real estate investing colleague of mine who didn't know much about the grant world, but he had heard about it himself. And so when I went looking for information on how to find out funding or free money for real estate investors or entrepreneurs, it really was difficult. There was that guy jumping up and down late night TV with the question marks on. That didn't help. And I just began to look around, and as I realized, the best answers were talking to people in the government. But there's thousands and thousands of agencies, departments, and people to talk to. It became quite overwhelming. But eventually, with a lot of research and due diligence, I began to uncover a lot of programs that I was eligible for, and I began to apply for these programs, made all the classic mistakes, but eventually got good at it. And with that being said, soon I was getting money for my own real estate investing in my businesses, et cetera. And I was having a good time with this because people began to notice. They said, "Chris, where are you getting all this extra money from?" And I said, "Government grants, isn't it great?" They said, "Well, we're not doing that. Can you show us how?" I said, "No, I'm too busy doing my own stuff." They said, "Well, tell you what, we'll pay you to help us get grants." I said, "Hang on a second. You want to pay me money for me to help you fill the same exact forms that I already filled out for myself, only for you?" And they said, "Sure." And so at that moment, my grant research business was born. So now I'm doing real estate investing on the one hand, and I'm doing grant help and advice for people who are paying me to basically show them what to do on the other hand. And while the real estate was pretty much set it and forget it, I got property managers in place and they cash flow nice and they go up in value. That's all wonderful. There's the other thing to deal with, of course. So it's not that involved time-wise, but the grant business really took off. I began to get invited out to conferences and speak all across America, in fact, internationally as well. Spoke with world famous people from Susie Orman to even Sir Richard Branson. I had a big conference over in the UK with Sir Richard Branson. It's been a real honor to be able to speak worldwide on this topic. Been on television, radio, etc. And with that being said, fast forward to today, we've helped a lot of people do this. And so with Dawn and Kendall's clients at Protect Wealth, normally at our live 3-day in-person event at a hotel, you'll get to see me there at the live 3-day event. But here, of course, the magic of power of Zoom, we're going to condense this down, give you the real nitty gritty, and go through this information and show you how to do it. But my goal is, before I'm done here tonight, is that you can leave here and either with my help or not, you can basically do this and be able to find some grants. And so as we go through, let me show you some real good stuff here, kind of give you a sense of how this works. Now, the slides are all designed to keep me on track here, so I'll try to stay on track and finish on time. Now, if you're somebody who wants to start a business or has employees and you can't quite afford all the employees that you need, there's money to pay for those employees, pay for startup, even to pay for company expansion. These amounts here you're seeing on this slide are typically what my clients are getting, and I can help you do the same thing. Now, maybe you are somebody who has kids going off to college. We can help you get a college education paid for all 4 years, whether it's real estate investing for investment purposes or your own home. There's money for that too. Even nonprofits, we work with those organizations as well. And so as we look at this money, just know it's out there, it's real, you're eligible for a lot of it, and you can get it, but you got to know what you're doing. Now, let me give you some quick numbers here of some numbers of programs available currently. Federally, over 7,000 programs, almost 2,000 state level, 6,000 county, 80,000 local programs. That's a lot of funding. What you're noticing here is there's more programs at the local level than there is at the federal level. And so that's, of course, all cities combined. But when you look at your city specifically, you're going to find either 1,000 or several hundred programs at least that you can tap into, as well as the state and the county and federally. So look at everything. Don't just look at one source, federal only. People make that mistake. Now, because we got people zoomed in here from all across the country tonight, I will focus on federal funding as opposed to right where you live, because you're the only person who's interested in where you live. But for everyone here, to keep everyone excited, we're going to talk about federal funding, but just don't overlook what's available locally to you as we go forward from today. There's also private sector funding, over 1.5 million private foundational grants. Now, private foundations are set up by people with money and organizations, for example, that make money available for a lot of reasons. A lot of it's for business, a lot of it's to help people who are underserved, or scholarships as well. There's also private foundations and scholarships as well. So the scholarships are everything, over 2.7 million scholarships. Now, this could be from McDonald's to Starbucks to Home Depot to your local college. offering scholarships. There's all kinds of private scholarship programs out there as well. So as you see, this list is quite enormous, and it's always growing, it's always changing, and there's always new ones being added all the time. Now, here's a few different examples of what getting a grant looks like. Then we'll dive into how you actually do it. Now, here's Rob and Alicia, nice couple. They're what are called fixer flippers, meaning they buy fixer uppers, they fix them, and they sell them or flip them for a profit. Now, you have to be smart with your numbers, and you have to be obviously budget conscious, et cetera, know what you're doing. Now, they don't have a famous TV show on HGTV like all those fix and flip shows. These are just private people doing their deals. But they became clients of mine several years ago. And what that did for them was they could call on me at any time they need to ask me to help them to find a grant that would be suitable for their situation, which they did. I did some research. In this particular example, we found a city grant that was offered by the city in which the property was located, maximum payout $10,000. We applied to it and we got the maximum $10,000. Only took a couple of weeks to get it. And so with that being said, when you get approved for a grant, what happens is you get sent a letter either through snail mail, which is very common, or by email, which is also very common. And it tells you whether you've been approved or not. And when you are approved, which is typical for my clients, almost every single one of my clients gets approved in the very first application. That's not a guarantee or a promise, but it typically is what happens with my clients. You'll get the grant award. Now, in this case, you don't just get the money to do what you want with it. You can't just take this $10,000 and go on a around the world vacation. You have to use it for the real estate investment. There is going to be some checks and balances. In other words, the inspector will inspect there actually is a house there. They want to see the bids and quotes from the contractors. They'll come back and verify the work got done, and that money is therefore signed off and becomes non-repayable at that point. And so that's pretty happy. Now, when you start getting checks like this, something else happens. It's called having a free money moment. And my goal is to help you have lots of these moments going forward from tonight. Now, it's not that difficult. It's quite simple. Now, there's no limit to getting how many grants you can apply to and how many you can receive. In fact, here's an example of Maritza, who for her own business got $30,000. Now, when I showed you the last one for $10,000, this one for $30,000, you're going to see that they're going to vary here. You might be curious what my average client receives. Now, you know, there's again not a promise or a guarantee for you, but I've been keeping track now for close to 20 years of my clients who basically get back to me and tell me how much money they got. My average client on the very first application receives over $20,000, which I think you'd agree is a pretty good amount of money when you are applying for funding for free. Now, here is Sarah. She didn't stop at one or two or three. She actually applied to 5 different grant programs. All 5 got approved. And so with that being said, you know, the sky's the limit here. I've got clients getting 4 and 5 grants a year regularly. So what exactly is free money? Now, free money is not a term you ever want to use with the government. Don't call up your local funding agency and say, hey, can I have some of that free money that Chris Johnson talks about? Because they're going to look at you funny. They don't use that terminology. You have to use proper government terminology, which is not that complicated. Grants. Now, grants are given to you. They're the best kind because they are non-repayable. They're non-taxable. They're non-repayable. And so that's the best kind of funding right there. Now, there's a lot of what we call different forms of funding in the free money umbrella or the free money world. Grants is just one of them. Loans is another one. Now, I'm not talking conventional bank loans here. You know, if you ever gone to a bank and been turned down, especially for a business loan, which is kind of difficult to get sometimes, the government wants to make loans as easy as possible to get. So they guarantee or back the loans, which enables the banks to give out lower interest rates and make them easier to get if you otherwise couldn't get a loan. The government loans are much easier, and these are typically low interest or sometimes 0% as well. Many loans, you pay back 0% interest as well, and some of them don't have to get paid back ever, which means they are forgivable loans, which means they convert to a grant at some point. These are exciting. I'll show you some examples of these here tonight as well. Now, one more type I want to talk about quickly is subsidies. These are a partial grant. You pay part of the cost and the government pays the rest for you. So it subsidizes your expense. So you can have wage subsidies for your employees, for example, where you pay 50% or even in some cases less of the wage, and the government will pay 50% or more. We see advertising can be subsidized, even rent and housing can be subsidized. There's all kinds of subsidies out there, including education and more. So those are the 3 main types of what we call free money. But again, you're gonna be using the proper terminology when you're speaking with government agencies. You're applying to either a grant or a loan or a subsidy, or applying for a scholarship is another term there as well. Think about that. And as we go forward here, the two main obstacles that people face, why that people are not getting grants more regularly, is because of two main things. We've all heard of grants, but most people don't know how to go about it. And so the first thing you have to understand is, if you go online and you try to, sort through the crazy, massive grant and funding world that's out there, it can get really confusing really quickly. What you want to have is someone in your corner, in your back pocket, so to speak, who can help you through the process and find that perfect grant for you, who knows the sources. I'm going to give you a couple of websites here in a few minutes that's going to show you how to zero in quickly and find at least federal grants. And I'll tell you how you can find local grants in your local area as well quickly on government websites. Now, the next obstacle is the application process. People, I've noticed, make silly mistakes all the time. They fill out forms. Think about it. If you ever fill out a form where you made a mistake, of course you have. I have. We all have. And these mistakes will get your grant application, I guess, basically sabotaged. It'll make it not go forward. The government is very black and white. It has to be done properly. And if it's not done properly, it won't move forward. If you're missing information, if you submit it on the wrong date, if you ask for the wrong amount of money, if you send it to the wrong department, if you don't make a photocopy like they ask you to, or if you make a photocopy, they ask you to only send in one copy. Every application has very specific, detailed rules or instructions, rather, that you need to follow. If you don't follow the instructions perfectly and carefully, you'll get turned down. And so my point is read the instructions. Every application form has instructions. If you follow the instructions, you read them carefully and follow them, you'll get a grant. Now, I know that sounds pretty simplistic, but trust me, people will make mistakes. They will skip some of the instructions. They will jump ahead. They won't go back and double check they did everything properly or submitted everything they were being asked to. If you remember these 4 words, instructions are not suggestions. They are, in fact, instructions, meaning you have to do them. If you can follow instructions properly, fill the forms correctly, and submit the application to a program you are eligible for, which I'm going to show you how to find those programs here in a second, then comes the money. Now, the money can be in large amounts, over 100,000, 200,000 or more. I'll show you examples of clients of mine who received well over $100,000, or it could be $5,000 or $10,000. It all depends on the program you're applying to, how much you need, how much you can justify, and of course, did you do the paperwork properly? Now, a great getting started place is at sam.gov. This is federal. Now, sam.gov stands for the System for Award Management. Now, what it is it's an amalgamation of 10 different federal government agencies in a one-stop shop. You go to sam.gov, and basically, it'll go through and find you everything from government contracting to any kind of funding that's out there to government programs. It offers a variety of different things here. So, for example, if you go to sam.gov, first thing is click on that second tab over. Don't do this now. Write down sam.gov. Look at this later. And of course, the second tab says search. You click on the search tab, and a box pops up. In there, you're going to type in what you're looking for. Now, maybe you're looking for, I don't know, business funding. And you type that in, you click the search button. The first thing you'll see over on the left-hand side there is it's got your terms. It's got business funding, which is the keyword you entered. And it's got other things down below there, like who can benefit, who's eligible, et cetera. As you scroll down the left-hand side of the page there. But in the main body of the page, it's giving you the results. Now, just in business funding, it's showing you 31 results. Now, this particular example, it might jump to 131 or down to 21. It all depends on the day of the week that you do this, because these programs are popping up and some of them have a short window of application time. It gives you details on them. You can click the link, look at the program, see if it sounds right for you, and give you the details. This is not every single program for business, by the way. This is the tip of the iceberg. It is not everything. Remember, we've got a lot of different federal resources that are not showing on here. And of course, the local and state programs too. But it's a great starting point for you. Another great website is benefits.gov. This one here is a benefits finder, which includes funding programs. Click the start button there. And when you do that, you're going to find it's going to ask you questions. And as you answer each question, the very first one is, what's your birth date? Chris, why do they want to know my birth date? Is the government trying to infringe on my privacy? Hey, trust me, the government knows everything about you already. If you got a social, they know everything about you. If you file taxes, they know everything about you. What it's doing is it's trying to find programs based upon your answers to sift and sort through the massive search engine that's working behind the scenes. So what this is doing is going out through thousands of different government websites and programs, and it's sorting and searching based upon how you answer the questions. And so some programs are based on your age. Some are based upon which state you live in. Some are based upon, are you a parent or a teacher or a student? So it's going to ask you all kinds of questions. And it's going to take you about a half an hour or so to answer the questions. And as you go through in real time, it is finding programs. And when you get to the end of the questionnaire, scroll on down below, it's going to have all the programs. It might be a few hundred or a few thousand, depends upon how you answer the questions. Basically, you want to make a short list out of your results. However you come with these results, either from sam.gov or benefits.gov or another search I'm going to show you in a bit here, you're going to find you'll have a lot of results. What you want to do is make a short list. And how you do that is focus on three key things: the name of the program, the purpose of the program, and the eligibility. And so the name of the program, programs are named in such a way that they'll kind of jump out at you if it's what you're looking for. Like, I won't just say the ABC 123 XYZ program and you have no idea what that means. It's going to have a program name that will sound exciting for you. For example, let's say that you want to do energy upgrades on your home, and the program pops up and it's called the Wetlands Preservation Research Grant Program. Does Wetlands Preservation Research sound anything like home energy upgrades? No. But let's say you find a program called the Residential Weatherization Assistance Program. Does that sound maybe like what yeah, of course. So weatherization is basically making your home more weatherized, more energy efficient potentially. And residential, of course, is it's where you live. And so, a program that kind of sounds what you're looking for, click on the hyperlink, open it up, and then you're going to read the purpose. The purpose is the reason why the government created the program in the first place. So why did they make this money available? I mean, what problem are they trying to solve? The government creates these programs to solve problems. That's the main thing to be aware of. And so what problem are they trying to solve in this case? So let's say you come across a program that says to create jobs and employment in the greater San Diego area. And you happen to have a business in San Diego, and you happen to be wanting to hire more people. And this program says to create jobs and employment in the greater San Diego area. And so you're thinking, this sounds like a pretty good match here, right? And so why is this also important? Well, at some point in the application, you're going to be asked as to why you're applying for the funding. And so rather than trying to get really creative and come up with this magical, brilliant answer all by yourself, I'd encourage you not to do that. In fact, I would encourage you to look at the reason that they created the program and use some of their own language or verbiage right back at them. It's not quite a copy and paste, but if you're going to say, why am I trying to apply for this grant program? To help create jobs and employment in the greater San Diego area by hiring 2 employees, which is what you happen to need. That they're going to read your answer. They're going to realize that your answer is exactly what the program was intended to do, to create jobs and employment. And so you're not going to hire everyone in San Diego who's unemployed, but you're going to hire at least 2 people, or whatever it is that you need to hire. That's how you match your needs with the government's needs. And so if you realize that you are in alignment with the government's purpose, that's a great program to apply for. Now, this might sound a bit confusing right now, but ultimately, as you read the name of the program, it's going to sound of interest to you. Click on that hyperlink, open the program up, read the summary or the synopsis, and then the purpose, why they created the program. If you are in alignment with that, bingo. Now, the last thing is eligibility. As you scroll on down a little bit more, it's going to say who's eligible. That might say homeowners, parents, teachers, schools. It might say individuals. It might say entrepreneurs. It might say businesses or business owners. It's going to say all kinds of things. And so if you are whatever they're saying, for example, veterans or seniors or persons with disabilities or students or entrepreneurs, if you are what they say, then you are eligible. Of course, you can check out the application deadline and date, and there's a link there to download the application form with instructions on how to fill the form out. If you can do those things, which it's not that difficult, you can apply and receive a grant quickly. So eligibility is what makes you eligible to apply. The beneficiary is who ultimately receives the funding, and applicant eligibility is who actually applies for the money. And usually it's the same thing. You are the beneficiary, and you're also the applicant. So with that being said, let's take a look at some real examples here to really kind of drive this home and make it make sense. So there's a program called the Small Business Innovation grant program. Now, maybe you're thinking, hey, I got a small business. Am I innovative? Am I not just another coffee shop or just another grocery store or just another restaurant? Is my business actually innovative? If you feel that you are, you can read more details in the program. And of course, it's to stimulate more business innovation. So some new ideas, fresh ideas. So was Tesla innovative? Was Amazon innovative? I'm not saying you're going to launch next Tesla or Amazon, but maybe you've got this cool new little thing you're doing or whatever it might be that's kind of unique. Hey, innovation, right? It's always a good thing. It drives the economy. It drives rapid growth in some sectors. Now, if you've got that, who's eligible? Well, you must be a small business, 51% of which must be owned by someone who's here legally. So meaning if you're in the country legally, as long as you own 51% of it, that is, you could have a rich business partner, uncle who lives over in the UK. As long as they only own 49% maximum, you still own the majority of it, you're here legally. You don't even have to be a citizen to get this one. So that's kind of a cool program right there. So this is an example of the Small Business Innovation Grant Program. Here's the boots to business. This is for people who are transitioning out of active duty service, military, into private business ownership. Now, this is not just for the service members, it's also including for their spouses. So let's say that you are transitioning from military to civilian life, and your spouse is the entrepreneur in the family, and they want to launch a business, they can get this particular program here as well. So there's all kinds of examples. There's programs just for women, for minorities. There's programs for all kinds of different situations. The female business ownership program is to help more women get into business ownership because let's face it, women have been left behind historically for decades. It's a way to play catch up in a certain sense here to help more women to own a business. Is the purpose. Ultimately, you must be 51% owned by females. And so if you're in business with your spouse and you're a man and female, male-female spousal situation, as long as the she's own more of it than the he's do, that's a good thing. Because the average grant paid out this particular program, $75,000. So I think you'd agree that's a pretty good little nest egg for your brand new business there. Now, as we go through here, I'm going to focus on three key areas: real estate, education, and business. We'll go through real estate first. I'll give you some different examples to kind of give you almost like a buffet style of different ideas of how you get funding for real estate. I'll give you some websites as well. Then we're going to jump over and talk education funding. I'll show you how to find really good education. And ultimately, people who have become clients of mine rarely ever pay for college or university. We're talking the full ride. And if you're getting student loans that you have to pay back, I'm talking full out scholarships, non-repayable. And so if you've got a young one or a grandson or niece or nephew or grandchild or child who's in college or coming up to college years, even private school, we actually get private school grants too. We're going to show you how to do that. Then we're going to switch over and talk about business funding as well. People often say, Chris, you've mentioned that people become clients here. You help people do this. Can you tell us more about that? Well, the answer is yes, I can. I'll spend a couple of minutes here and talk about some of the things I do to help my clients out, but I'm going to focus on really going through and giving you the information here on how you can do this. So now let's get going here. So in real estate, energy upgrades really is to make your home more energy efficient so that you're using less heating and cooling cost. So less electrical or less gas to reduce your cost to keep your home warmer in the winter and cooler in the summer. And so there's all kinds of programs out there, and yes, grants to pay for it. I've had many clients receive huge grants. One of my clients received $30,000 in work for free to make her home more energy efficient. She got it all done for free and new insulation, everything. And she also cut her energy bill in half. So it's not only the upfront gift of the grant, but it's also the ongoing gift that keeps on giving of lower energy costs. Here's Lauren. He got a federal home energy assistance program grant and the weatherization assistance grant as well. So two different grants federally, one to cut down his costs and one to get his home weatherized and to keep his energy bills lower going forward as well. So that's pretty cool. Here is some down payment assistance. This is for first-time home buyers. Now, different states, it might be 3 or 4 or 5 years of you haven't owned real estate in your name. If that's the case, check with your state. That makes you, typically it's 3 years. That makes you a first-time home buyer. You can get $5,000 to $15,000 to $20,000. Now, that doesn't sound like much in today's real estate climate. I know that, but heck, $10,000 or $20,000 in free money to go towards your down payment is a big deal for first-time home buyers. Every dollar counts for first-timers, right? Now, opportunity zones. I know this is covered a little bit more in detail in the 3-day class, probably by Scott Estill. But basically, as you take a look across the country, there are opportunity zones in every major town and city across the country. What that means is you can, instead of paying tax that you owe on your investments, instead you can buy real estate with that money. And as long as it's bought in a opportunity zone, do a little bit of fix-up work on that property. What you're doing is you're improving housing for the local people in that area. And there's grants to basically pay for those upgrades. And that's the key here. Use the upgrade money for doing the upgrades, not your own pocket, and you can save a lot of money in your taxes. And so this is a cool idea there that the government passed a few years ago, which is pretty interesting. Block grants, this is really federal funds paid out locally. So as you look at what I was on Facebook just yesterday, which I'm not on Facebook that often, but I saw a grant program pop up in my small town, and they're now taking applications for grants, and it's wide open. What do you want to do? What project do you have for a local community here? Let us know about it, and we can maybe give you some grant money for it, whether it's 10,000 or 5,000 or 1,000. And so block grants is typically federal funds, but discretionarily paid out at the local level. And it's a pretty cool thing there. Now, housing and urban development, so HUD.gov is a great starting point, but you can also find some excellent real estate programs at USDA, U.S. Department of Agriculture, there's all kinds of funding for real estate, et cetera, in a variety of different areas. Now, the state and local and your local county and city, sometimes you can find some great programs at the county level. I'll show you a couple of examples here on our next slide of how that actually looks here. But you can get money for upgrades, rehab, property acquisition. You can't just get all the money you want to buy a house with, but for upgrades and partial coverages of costs, the money can be there for you as well. Doesn't matter what kind of real estate you're doing, it could be multi-unit, commercial, historical, all kinds of areas. Here's some county examples. This is Carol. She's a master deal finder and deal maker. Now, Carol told me that she's got 4 houses in the go. She says, Chris, can you help me find some grants? Now, I noticed that 2 of the houses were in one county and 2 were in the other county. And so what happened was we did applications to each county. And when we got the results back, both were approved. One for $9,854, which covered 2 of the houses, and another for $17,403, which covered the other 2 houses. And that covered over $27,000 between these 4 houses. It didn't cost her anything to do the repairs. That's the key here. It cost her not one thin dime of her own money. She had to pay for the rundown houses, yes, but the repair work to make them all beautiful and livable and resellable for a lot more money. In other words, highly profitable. None of it came out of her pocket. And so this is what we call steroids for real estate investors. This is making you get richer faster. In other words, how you can do real estate investing. Jerome and LaShawn, they came to my a class I was teaching, not for real estate reasons, but to help find a scholarship for their daughter, which they did. But then they got thinking, because I talked about real estate and business and other things too, they started thinking about real estate and they thought, you know what, we don't have any extra money. We got kids, mortgages, dogs, nothing to go into real estate, but they applied anyway. And it took 90 days. They received $58,000. They used that to cover the down payment costs, which was necessary to get the loans on 3 different properties. And so nothing out of their own pocket. All the down payment money came from the grant monies. They got the 3 properties. They put tenants in them. Now they got positive cash flow. It cost them nothing out of their pocket. Yes, they got the mortgages, but it didn't come out of their bank account. That's a loan. They got the down payment money to acquire those properties. Now they've got tenants paying the mortgages for them. They got the tenants paying the taxes, et cetera. And plus they're going up in value. So it's long-term investing that we love to hear about, which is pretty exciting. Here's Art. He got $128,000 for his multi-unit properties. 3 grants, one each for each unit, $50,000, $40,000, $38,000, over $128,000 for Art there. Obviously very happy indeed, as you can see here. So this is the kind of examples we're talking about in real estate. Oh, here's one more. Assisted living grant. This is actually $145,000 for the youngs. Pretty exciting stuff here. So whatever you're doing, just know that we can probably find something for you. Let's switch over now and talk education. Now in education, there's funding for all kinds of areas, from preschool to private school, going back to school. finishing your education off that you kind of left undone years ago. There's academic scholarships, athletics, academics, all kinds of scholarships that are out there for all kinds of reasons. Even if you're just interested in certain unique activities, there's scholarships for that too. Engineering, computer science, med school. We've had doctors go to med school for free with our help. We've had engineering students go and graduate with grants that we help them to get. Even foreign international studies, both domestically and internationally. In other words, students coming in or going out of country, overseas as well. There's all kinds of opportunity here. The key is you want to get started early, apply to as many programs as you possibly can, apply to everything your state offers, everything the federal government offers. Don't stop applying with education. 3 or 4 applications for real estate or business is normal, but education is 30 or 40. Don't be intimidated by that number. Get as many applications done, get your kids involved, and apply to everything that the government offers, everything that the university or college will offer, and go to the private sector, the foundational scholarships and grants. Google could be your best ally here. Go to Google and type in any company's name you can think of, from McDonald's to Starbucks to Home Depot, and the word scholarship. The very first result that pops up will be their direct link to their scholarship for that particular year. Apply early in the year, get your FAFSA done. Even if you're making too much money to get qualified for FAFSA funding, being turned down for FAFSA might be a prerequisite for other funding that can be available to you as well. And there's no such thing that says it's only for low-income people. People have these mental blocks that say, Chris, I make too much money to get a scholarship. Well, maybe that particular program has an income cap, but that program over there doesn't. And so there's many programs out there that you're eligible for no matter what your situation is. Now, here's some examples. Here's Eileen Schwartz. Her son received a $25,000 grant, non-government grant. This is from the college. The college offered the grant for him, the biggest one, but he also got some government funding, a grant for $5,860 and a 0% interest-free loan for $4,500, and that converts to a grant after he graduates. It covered the entire cost, which is pretty exciting. Here's Glenn. He received $80,000 from a foundation and $138,000 from the university. And so, as you can imagine, being approved for almost $250,000 in education funding makes any family happy, as it did the Gloucester family here as well. Way to go, Glenn. Now here's the Dickinson family. Now here's Rochelle. She'd already graduated, and she has her family, these beautiful kids here, wonderful husband. There's Eldine there in the background, and she's a busy mom now, and she's got these student loans hanging over her head. She says, Chris, can you help me with this? And I found out that there is federal and state level funding that was provided to her in a loan that she couldn't keep up with the payments. And so we applied to both student loan debt relief programs, and both of them were eliminated, discharged within a month. This is not a bankruptcy filing. This is literally a student loan debt reduction grant that existed that we applied to both of them, got both wiped out for over $37,000 just gone, which is pretty exciting. That's why they're smiling so readily there in that last photo. Now here's Sue. She had over $100,000 in student loans, and she says, very grateful for your grant program and expert guidance. As a result of using your course materials, your one-on-one consulting within 1 month, just 1 month, I located, applied for, and received $109,076 of student loan forgiveness. I didn't even know I was qualified for it. Thank you. So with that being said, I love to get these success stories. They are wonderful. Now, let's take a quick 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and talk about some ways that I help people do this. Then we're going to circle back and go through the business funding. Then I've got some fun announcements for you and a huge announcement you're going to love. Now, one of the ways I help my clients is I give them ongoing support and help and guidance. I do it through a program I created several years ago called the Grant Locator. What it is, it's a monthly newsletter and an audio. Now, the audio comes in both CD and online. You get both. And I know CDs are kind of antiquated. Yes, it's true, but some people still have CD players. People like to play them in their cars, whatever it is. So CDs and online, and of course, the newsletter. Now, this is a program that provides all kinds of tips and pointers, typically about 6 topics every month. I go through business topics, real estate topics, education topics, how to find, apply for, how to communicate with the funding agencies. I also interview clients who are receiving grants, and they tell you exactly what to do, what they did, and how you can do the same thing. It's just full of information on here. Every month I go through a half dozen topics. Now, it does cost money. the cost of this subscription is $79 a month, plus tax, plus shipping. This is true. But if you hang on with me here for, I guess, another half hour or so, I'm going to show you how to get a couple of these for free. So hang on, I'm going to show maybe less than half an hour, but I'm going to show you how to get a couple of these for free here. Stay tuned, I'll talk about that in a second. Now, other ways to help my clients is I have a program which is where I personally help people through one-on-one consulting. You tell me what kind of funding you need, I go find the grant for you. Chris, I need a grant to do this reno. Here it is, here's the link, here's the application form, boom, done. Happy. I'll even look over your application form. I'll help you with your business plan and business application form if you're applying for business funding. I'll help you every step of the way. 1 year of this service, unlimited, as much of me as you need, by the way. I do charge more money than the last one. This one here, I charge $10,000 a year. If you're lucky enough to get this, if you ever have a chance to get this service, grab onto it, because I take on very few clients, because I really pour my heart and soul into helping people out. So if you get a chance to get this particular service, it's going to really change your life dramatically as well. So it's called my one-on-one consulting and help. I'll look forward to more information on that later. But with that being said, let's now talk business funding, and more importantly, how you can get some. Now, with business funding, most people jump and go to the SBA, or the Small Business Administration. SBA.gov is a website. Tremendous resource here. They've got everything on here, from mostly loans, by the way. It's mostly a loan agency, but they've got hiring, firing, growing, licensing. They've got business planning. They've got mentoring. They got all kinds of, it's just a very extensive website. If you've never been in business before, SBA is like business school. Check it out. It's very user-friendly. A lot of great resources that are on there as well. But again, mostly loans. But there's actually 6 different federal agencies. This is just one of them. The other 5, there's a lot of grants that are out there. Go to usa.gov/business, for example, Department of Agriculture, Department of Commerce. There are many different agencies that offer business grants. And of course, your state does, as does your county and your city as well. Again, this webinar, we're talking federal funding, but your local agencies, your local funding agencies offer a lot more too. The examples I showed you from Carol, those are from the county. I showed you Robin Leach, the very first example here tonight. That was from the city, right? So state, city, county programs, as well as federal, you're going to get the money that you need to launch your business. Apply to all 4 levels of government as well. Now, you could be a real estate investor to get business funding. Now, real estate, you can get real estate funding to cover the repairs, improvements, and acquisition. But if you've got a business called, hey, I invest in real estate for a living, not as a realtor, I'm talking as an investor. I'm not a realtor, I'm not a broker, but I own a lot of real estate. My business is real estate investing. I can get money from my real estate investing business through the business programs, and I can get money from the real estate programs to use for fixing up and improving those properties. And so different sources of funding for basically the same exact thing. It's kind of like double dipping here almost in a certain way. You could be any business. You could be a mom and pop shop. You could have a business somewhere, an office somewhere, a home-based business. It doesn't matter, an online business. I'll show you some online examples here in a second. Brand new startup money, startup capital, equipment, employees, advertising, and more. You can cover the whole gamut of expenses there in your business. Now here's Jason. He applied to the local development authority after going to my workshop and received $25,000. It helped him, my course, my help, helped him locate the funding. And of course, he received the money quite quickly as a result of doing that, which is pretty exciting. Now here's Brian. He went to my seminar I taught, and he got going, and he says he applied to the government for a wage subsidy, received 60% of the wages for his employees for 78 weeks. Now, if you don't know what 78 weeks is, it's more than a year, because it's 52 weeks in a year, right? This is a year and a half of more than half the wages for his employees. That saved him a ton of money. From application to receipt of the subsidy took only a month, 4 weeks to get that done. Sometimes you get grants approved the next day. Sometimes it takes a couple of months. I'd say typically say about a month is pretty average. Sometimes it gets done in a week or so. Here's an example of the next day though. Here's Pat. She's got an online business selling stuff online. And she applied to the agency and received a phone call back the very next day after applying. And the money was in her account within 7 days. $10,000 to buy stuff at wholesale to turn around and sell at full retail. Pretty exciting here how she's able to do that. So, there's just a couple different examples. Over 1 million people receive giveaways and grants and funding every single year for their business. And if you're not doing it, you're missing out, because think about this. Where does the money come from? We all pay taxes. We all pay into the pot, right? And if we are not using the money ourselves directly, just know that other people are. When you add to the business funding, the education and the real estate, it's over 20 million people a year are taking advantage of these programs across the country. And if you're not, your tax dollars are funding somebody else's business, somebody else's kid's college education. You might as well say, hey, I've been paying my taxes long and hard enough. I might as well take advantage of some of these programs myself and get my own kitchen remodeled or my own business upgraded or whatever it might be you're trying to do here. So let me show you what I've done for you. I'm all about easy, making things as easy as possible for people, to help them, like a hand-holding experience, to show you what, like, let's face it, struggling and trying to figure stuff out is never that fun, unless you're the kind of person that likes to kind of, solve mysteries. But, for me, I did the legwork already. I know how to do this. So what I've done, I spent a total now, I think, of about $750,000 of my own money. And I've hired an incredible team of research assistants to help me to go out and sift and scour through all levels of government, federal, state, even local programs, to find the perfect programs that exist right now today, up to date, to find the programs that you're likely eligible for, including the person who's in charge of each program, their name, their phone number, their email, and the link to get the application form downloaded. And I've put this information together for you in this amazing free money set program. The first one, my first manual I put together, is for real estate investors, investors wannabe, homeowners, or homeowners wannabe. So if you are one of those people there, you need this program, because it's going to show you how to get grants to fix up, acquire, improve real estate, whether it's your first property or your 121st property, it doesn't really matter. Inside this program, I show you how to get money to buy real estate, pay for down payments and closing and rehabbing and developing even houses as cheap as $1. It's called the Dollar Home Program. First-time home buyer programs I mentioned a moment ago, what's called the Good Neighbor Program. If you are a police officer, a teacher, a firefighter, or an EMS personnel working full-time in that profession, you can get a house for half price from Housing and Urban Development. As long as you live in the house for 3 years, it's yours. It's awesome. And of course, there's home ownership programs, for-profits, nonprofits, state programs, multifamily programs, much, much more. Now, the audio program that accompanies a manual, I go through and explain to you. Put the CD in, you listen, and I tell you exactly what to do step by step on how to find the program. It really does work. You'll find great programs quickly using the manual and the audio CD that accompanies the manual. It really is a solid way to get funding quickly. I just updated this program literally a couple of weeks ago, and you're going to love it because it's got the latest, greatest programs that are in there right now available to you as well. Hundreds of programs for real estate investors. Now, if you're somebody who wants to get a kid through college or university, or maybe yourself, or pay off student loan debts, get your hands on my free money for education course program manual. This one here, I show you, I teach you how you don't have to ever worry about paying for college ever, or get student loans, get the grants, get the scholarships. There are thousands of programs referenced in this manual, plus the audio program shows you how to do it. Every parent, every student needs this program. It's going to make it so comprehensive as well. Now, for anybody who wants to be in business or is already in business, I don't care what kind of business you got, get my free money for business course program manual. This one here, I go through all federal agencies and all state agencies and show you how to find your local agency quickly and what to do about that. The audio program walks you through not only the programs, how to do it, but also business planning advice and help, and how to get the business plan done and more. Now, what ties these three programs all together is my fourth manual, which is really the one that, gets the rubber hitting the road, so to speak, that what to do, how to apply, what to do first, what to do second, what to do third, all the simple steps that we go through here in my office and my team does for our clients. I show you exactly how to do it. And it's basically a hand-holding experience for you. Do this first, do the second, do this third. It really makes it so simple, comprehensive. There's an audio CD that goes along with this one as well. I mean, it really does take the other three manuals, and this one is how you actually get free money coming in constantly. We've got clients getting hundreds of thousands of dollars a year because of this grant funding system for whatever it is that they're doing, and you can do the same thing. Now, this does cost money. This course retails for $4,000. It works out to about $1,000 per manual, right? Now, you don't pick or choose which one you get. You need all four, because most people I find have multiple needs, whether it's education and business or business and real estate or something like that. And the how to apply shows you how to actually do it. So you need to get the entire system. And with that being said, there's a way I'm going to show you here in a minute how to actually get my course at a dramatically reduced cost. In fact, as low as free. So hold that thought here. But first, let's find out, does the program actually work? Well, here's Tom. Tom says, "Dear Chris, thanks to your program, I was able to get $100,000 in less than 7 days. 100,000 doesn't come easily, but the sound direction your program provided, it wasn't that difficult. Thank you, Chris." That's amazing, right? 1 week to $100,000. Here's Abby. It took her a little bit longer. It got her about 3 months to get this one approved. But look at this. It's almost $250,000. She used that money to buy the building for her business. She bought the real estate for her business. It was business funding to buy real estate with. Nothing wrong with that because her business is located there. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Happy dances what Abby's doing there. I've been getting success stories flooding my email inbox for the last 20 years. These are all clients of mine who I've helped do this. As they slide past your screen here, think about this. Some are for 50,000, some are for 100,000, some are for 20,000, some are for more. Think about what you need money for. All these people are no different than you. They simply saw me talk about this, took action, and they went through the simple steps to apply. They got the money, in most cases, quite quickly and simply. And you can too. So think about your business needs, your real estate needs, your education funding needs. I can help you too. And if I showed you every client of mine, by the way, I'm only showing you a sample handful here of my clients. If I showed you every single client of mine I've helped get grants, by the way, at this speed going past right now, it would take me about an hour to an hour and a half to show you everybody that I've helped get a grant so far. The bottom line is this works. These people are real. They're no different than you. And if you want to get funding, you're in the right place. So let's make this as easy as possible here for you. I gotta wait for, there's a couple more slides here, I'm sorry, you guys. But I mentioned earlier, over 1 million people get grants for business. It's about 20 million people who get grants every single year. There's also millions more for real estate and for college. When you add it all up, it's over 20 million a year. Let me help you become one of this year's 20 million, okay? And here's how we can do it. These are not all clients of mine. That's the whole country. That's just, many of those people I help, but let me kind of get you included in that list there by helping you get grants too. So we know my course retails for $4,000. Well, hang on a second, because I'm going to make an incredible offer to you here that's going to basically allow you to get my program for free. So let's kind of cross that out there. Plus, I'm going to throw some incredible bonuses in here to make it even that much better. The first bonus is my Grant Locator. Remember the monthly audio, CD, and newsletter I talked about earlier? And this is so you can stay up to date with new announcements, new programs, new funding, these client interviews. This program really is keeping you on the cutting edge of the latest, greatest grant funding advice and help. It basically walks you through the process every single month. It costs $70 plus tax plus shipping normally. What we're going to do here is I'm going to give you the first 2 months for free. All I want you to do is cover the shipping and handling costs. I'll pay the tax. But you cover the shipping and handling to get it from my office to your front door. Now, the shipping and handling, in case you're curious, is a small amount. It's only $6. So you cover that. I get the rest taken care of. Now, if you do that, I will basically include a third one for free. So this third one, I'm going to ship it to you with your course. You get the 4 manuals and the 4 CDs of my grant course. And this third one will come with it. And this one here, I want you to play first. Listen to the Grant Locator first. And it's going to give you some ways to double your success and also double the amount of money you get approved for quickly. There's no shipping and handling on that first one. It's only in the second and third one. And so with that being said, you get 3 of these for free. That's a $287 value there for the 3 Grant Locators for free. All you pay is shipping and handling on months 2 and 3. Hopefully I'm not confusing you here. Now what happens then? Can you stop if you want to? Yeah, you're not locked into this. This is a month-to-month deal. You can stop after the free ones or you can keep on going. But if you keep on going past the first 3, a couple of amazing things are going to happen. First of all, I'm not going to charge you $79 my regular fee. I'm going to cut that in half. As a Protect Wealth client, you get a 50% discount off my subscription, down to only $39 a month, and that includes the tax, and then it includes the shipping. So it's an all-inclusive $39. And so you pay zero today, $66, and $39 a month thereafter. And you can stop that whenever you want, just a phone call or an email. We'll stop the subscription, and you will not have to pay ever again. But most people keep on going, and here's why. Because once you are at your third month, I activate the full library of archives. I give you 10 years worth of Grant Locators. You get the entire Grant Locator library. That's a $10,000 worth of subscriptions. You get it for free. I'm giving you the entire thing. We're talking hundreds of topics on business, on real estate, the entire library. You get the entire Grant Locator library as your bonus worth over $10,000 once you're at month 3. It is awesome. And so again, that's the Grant Locator. That's just one huge bonus for you. And my next bonus, I've got to limit this to the first 20 people only. We've got almost 100 people on the webinar here, but I have to limit this to the first 20. And here's why. Because I work with people individually. My one-on-one consulting and mentoring. Now, I mentioned earlier, I charge $10,000 a year for that. Why? Because it's unlimited, as much of me as you need. Then we work by email, because I have to give you links and application forms and downloads, and keep a record of our back and forth. So phone call is very inefficient. It sounds efficient, but it's actually the opposite. It's so inefficient because we're playing voicemail tag. It's a time waster, and we forget everything we're talking about, and you can't write down the URLs I'm giving you. Email is the only way this works. It's awesome. It's unlimited, as much of me as you need, and my entire team, by the way. So I charge $10,000 a year for this. If you take advantage of this tonight, and you take advantage of my program, I'm going to offer you here in a second. If you're one of the first 20 people, I'm going to waive the $10,000, making a completely free bonus for you. You're going to get this, and this will make getting grants as easy as possible, so easy for you that you're just going to love this. And so that is my personal one-on-one consulting and mentoring. I'm waiving it for the first 20 people, but I have to cap it at 20 people. Why? Because I'm one guy. I've got to be able to work with the people I get. I can't work with 100 people on here. I can only work with the first 20 people. So my system is all 4 manuals, all 4 CDs. Remember those 2 bonuses, the Grant Locator and the one-on-one consulting. You get both of those, right? And with that being said, I also mentioned as a way to get rid of that $4,000 fee and get the course itself for free. And here's how you do it. I've got costs. I've got overhead. I've got staff to pay, lights to keep turned on. You get the idea. Every business has a certain amount of overhead cost. And so my break-even point, just to take care of one client for a year, it works out to be $2,497 and change. Here's what I need you to do. If you're willing to work with me, I'm willing to work with you. What I ultimately want is your success story. I want your testimonial. I love to hear the success stories and testimonials, because I can use those in my advertising and my marketing. If I get that, I've now got a write-off of a business expense. So if you can cover the cost of you, the cost of me taking care of one client, which in this case is you, which is $2,497, cover your cost. And then when you get your success story, share that with me. I will refund this entire amount right back to you to get the entire course for free. We're going to call it a refundable deposit. So you pay today $24.97, but I give it right back to you. Now, you might get it back next week if you get a grant as quick as a few days or a week or two, which a lot of people do, or a month or two. But I'm not going to make you, have a certain deadline of a month or two. I'm going to give you a full entire year. Don't procrastinate. Don't, do nothing. Do something. We'll get you a grant, and when you do, show me the proof. I'll give the entire amount right back to you, and you get the entire thing in essence for free. But wait, it gets better. Of course, you get the Grant Locator, like I mentioned earlier, the 3 free issues and the discount, and the course, the entire library worth over $10,000. Plus, you also get my consulting and mentoring for a full year. If you're one of the first 20 people, that is worth $10,000 as well. You get that included for free. So look at this. You add up the whole thing here. This is what, 10, 14,000. I mean, we're talking over $20,000 in total value here, which is amazing. But I know that you have paid a certain amount of money at the last 3 days of the Protect Wealth seminar. A lot of people took advantage of different offers that were given. Kendall and Dawn told me that you might have a bit of a tight budget here. I have got grant monies available that I'm taking advantage of right now here tonight. And I'm able to take advantage of some grant monies I've got access to take $1,000 off of your deposit, to bring it down and reduce it down by a full additional $1,000, giving you a discount down to this 1,497. That's it. Just 1,497. That's all you pay. That's all you ever pay. And when you get that grant and show me that proof, I give the entire thing back to you. It's amazing. So with that being said, only $1,497 today for the first 20 people will get this amazing discount. Now add on the $10,000 of Grant Locator's library. It's over $24,000 in total value. I've got a double guarantee here for you. My guarantee works this way. Number one guarantee is you get a full entire year. Send me your testimonial if you get your grant, and take a smiling photo as well, like these people here on the screen. You get a full year to do that. Show that to me. I'll refund the entire $1,497 back to you, in essence, giving you the entire course for free. Now we're going to exclude COVID funding. Why? Because everyone gets COVID funding automatically just by asking for it. We want to get a proper grant here, which is basically business grant, education grant, real estate grant. Show me that proof of that grant, and if you follow my steps, my system, you'll get that grant. Show it to me. You'll get the refund that way. My second refund guarantee is simply this: if you change your mind, you get 7 days to do it. Change your mind in the 7 days. Now, it's not 7 days from right now. It's 7 days when you receive the course. So if you receive the course, I don't know, today's Thursday, like on a Tuesday, for example, or a Monday or Wednesday, add 7 days to that. So review it, look it over. If you don't feel it's the best decision you made this year, or one of the best decisions you made this year, contact my office. You're gonna get all my contact information right away, my email, etc. Let me know you change your mind. We'll give you the refund, no questions asked. It's a zero risk deal. You've got all the upside and none of the downside. If you're one of my typical clients receiving $20,000 in the very first application, you've paid for it. I give you the refund. Your $20,000 to clear there right away. If you're one of my clients who takes 2 grants to get $20,000, or maybe you get $100,000 or $50,000, like a lot of my clients do as well. Who knows what it's going to be for you? I look forward to helping and working with you, but that's pretty awesome. So to order the system, to be one of the first 20 people, go to this website showing on the screen right now to place your order, protectwealth.com/grants, protectwealth.com/grants. Go there. It's going to redirect you to my order landing page. You're going to see my face on there. You're going to see the course on there. You're going to see the price of $1,497. Now, how do you know you're one of the first 20 people? Well, probably it's going to take us a few minutes to get there, certainly, but don't procrastinate overnight. Do this now. And if it's showing $1,497 on the website, you've got it. If it's jumped to $2,497, that means that you didn't get the included consulting and mentoring. Okay, so go to protectwealth.com/grants now, place the order. It'll give you the confirmation. It'll give you a welcome email from me. Tomorrow you're going to get a FedEx tracking link sent to you that I'm paying the FedEx. By the way, you pay zero shipping as well. It's awesome. And now, if you're somebody here who, for example, can't quite squeeze $1,497 out of the credit card tonight, but you can put it on 2 different cards, or even 3 different cards, then what I want you to do is send Kendall an email, and he'll reach out to you either tonight or tomorrow, and he can over the phone transact the split amount. So it doesn't have to be exact 50-50. It can be, 1,000 on this card and 500 on that card. He can split it up for you however you want it to be done. Or if you're somebody who gets paid tomorrow, because it's payday tomorrow, for example, tomorrow's Friday, I guess, and you want to put it through on Monday or something. Again, email Kendall, he'll work with you. But to lock in your place of the first 20, what you want to do is go to protectwealth.com/grants, place your order now, secure that spot now. To secure that $10,000 worth of consulting and mentoring for free, you never pay for that. All you pay is $1,497. That's it. And that whole amount is double guaranteed. 7 days to change your mind, or 1 year. Show me your testimonial, which you'll get that testimonial. Show that to me, and then when you do, the entire thing is refunded. Of course, the entire program you keep the course, you keep everything. You've also got the entire Grant Locator library, which activates on your 3rd month of subscription there. Remember, it's $0 today. The next 2 months, $6 shipping, then $3rd of the month. You can cancel it whenever you want to, by the way, but you're gonna love it. So it's not $24.97, which is what I was gonna do, but Kendall and Don talked me into a discount. I knew I had some grant funding available, so I'm taking my grant money to further reduce my cost. I'm already going in the hole to take care of you down to $14.97. But again, it's the first 20 people only. So go to protectwealth.com/grants now, and you'll see that you're going to take full advantage of that. Now, Kendall, I think this is a tremendous offer that can totally enhance the business needs of your clients and Don's clients, and whether it's real estate, whether it's business, whether it's even just getting education paid for. I think I can really help them too. That additional $1,000 discount here that we're including in this to make it affordable for everyone. And of course, I want your success story. People say, Chris, how can you possibly refund all these people? If I've got your success story, I can use it in my advertising, my marketing. I've got business write-offs of the 1497. It works. Trust me, it works really great. And I can just advertise my course that much better. Kendall?
Well, it's pretty neat to me. I love to see that. What a generous offer. Seriously, thank you so much. Seriously, it doesn't get better than that, Chris. Looking at a lot of the pictures as you scroll through, my favorite thing is to see the pictures of people that I know and I've seen over the years. A lot of our students, we've been working with you for a long time, Chris, and they've gotten grants, a lot of them, multiple.
Yeah. What's fun is a lot of people watching me right now are about to get a lot of grant money. They just don't know it yet because they haven't done the application like I showed them how to do it. So if you're watching me, you're about to get a bunch of grants too. The people I showed you, it just happened to them a few months ago or a couple of years ago, depending upon when they came to the Protect Wealth Academy event. You were here these last few days, you're just getting started. So, it's going to happen to you as well. But it's fun, dude. It's fun when they come to your event, they come to another event afterward, and they're showing off how much money they made through Mike and Stacy's program of stocks. They're showing how much money they made through or saved on taxes from Pat and Scott Essel's teachings, and of course the grants we're receiving as well. It's a lot of fun. You're right.
It really is. Yeah, no, for real. I love it. We've talked to a lot of students over the years that have been to our workshops and have seen you, and they really have got money. We had one, I think, did some real estate, definitely some scholarships for school, for other businesses. I think there's some energy efficiency type stuff. Kind of cool. So, Chris, thank you very much. Really, really appreciate the generous offer. Yeah, we've had a lot of these on for the last 3 days at the summit, and that's a generous offer, no doubt, because I know you usually don't do that many consults, I don't think. So you're very nice
20
to do that
people
for us.
Yep.
And I appreciate getting back to everybody and working on that with them. Well, okay, so go ahead and sign up right now. I put that link in the chat. So a lot of you know the drill already. Go ahead and click on the link for any information there. Protectwealth.com/grants, and that is clickable. It'll take you there. It's the page I looked at. It's pretty cool. I think you just updated that, Chris. It goes through the details, a lot of information there. So take a look at that. If you have any questions, it should all be answered there. So $14.97. Yeah. Okay. I want to make sure $14.97 was the price there. Great deal, Chris. Thank you so much. All right. Well, do you have a little bit of time to do some questions then, Chris?
Let's do questions. Let's do Q&A. Let's see, people are leaving questions in both areas there. So,
yeah, I disabled the chat, so it should all show up in questions now. But I love this question, though. Mohammed asked, grants is free money. What about taxes on it in case we invest and it grows? How does that work?
Well, the grant money is not to speculate, invest with. I know real estate is speculation investing, of course, but real estate's more solid. But to just kind of quote, I know, like if you're a Mike and Stacy student, you're not gambling, but stock investing is considered gambling in the eyes of the government. So they're not going to give you money just to go to Vegas with or to roll a dice on the stock market with. I know that Stacy and Mike have a solid, proven system that'll work for you. But so as you're not going to really invest the grant money, you're going to use it for a specific purpose, such as hiring employees or doing an energy upgrade or doing a house rehab or getting a scholarship for your kid. So it's not really invested money that's going to grow. In other words, now the real estate will increase in value. That's fine. That doesn't. You're not going to. You'll pay taxes on whatever capital gain you get in your property. Yeah. And of course, if you're using good tax planning, like Scott and Patrick teach and help you with, then you'll reduce that amount. But the grant itself is non-taxable in almost every example, every case. Yeah. And so you don't have to worry about taxes in the sense of grants. But great question, Mohammed.
Great question.
I see the question from.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Phil and Nadine have a great question. Special education. So, or primary education. So yes, we've helped kids with special needs, for example. I've got one client receives $24,000 a year from a grant for her son. And whether it's autistic kids or just any other special needs kid. And yes, there's also private school and middle school. We've actually had that. People often don't realize that private schools themselves offer scholarships. Just ask. It's almost like asking for the money. Call a private school up and say, what funding do you have? What programs do you have to help us afford it to go there? They might give you a discount on a tuition, for example. If you can't do it today, Althea, what you want to do is contact Kendall and say, Kendall, I'm now ready to do this. Now, we're probably not going to have the consulting available or the extra discount down, so I wouldn't hesitate in the pro. If you can't afford it today, do it today, because this price of $14.97, which includes that $10,000 consulting, you don't want to miss out on that one, of course. Like I said, if you need to split a couple of cards up, just email Kendall. He and his team will work with you on that, and they'll help you out with that, or delay a payment. If your delay is only about a week or so, they'll work with you on that. I mean, we'll hold a spot for you. We'll hold a consulting spot for you. If you email Kendall tonight, tell you what, if you email Kendall tonight with your request of splitting on cards or delaying a payment for a week or a few days, whatever it is, we'll hold a consulting spot for you. So we'll reserve some consulting spots so you don't miss out on the consulting. If all 20 get taken with the protectwealth.com grant online order form, we'll still save a couple spots for the people who have to delay payments, that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, we got someone who's wanting to talk to a business partner. I get that sometimes. Give me a call. I'll put my email in there, and you can email me directly. No problem at all.
That's from Anonymous.
Anonymous. They're anonymous.
We'll take care of you, Anonymous. All right.
You will no longer be anonymous. Sorry, guys. All right. So the question was, Phil and Nadine asked, so if they have a private tuition, you said every year, that works. That can potentially be every year. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I've got one client who gets $24,000 a year. I mean, I got more than one client, but one in particular I know of. It's $24,000 a year that she gets every single year, and that's for her autistic son, I believe it is. So I mean, any kind of intellectual disability, there's all kinds of programs and agencies and nonprofits too. Foundations, nonprofits offer a lot of that money as well, which is pretty exciting. So Phil and Nadine, 7 days to change your mind. The 7 days when you receive it in your hands. So we've got the tracking information. We can see the day it was delivered. The clock starts then, so you don't get it till like next Thursday. We're not going to say, 7 days is up because today's Thursday. Obviously, we'll wait till next Thursday to start your 7 days, review it over, and then change your mind that way. But other than that, we'll give you a full entire year. Now, will you necessarily get your first grant approved? Well, my clients typically do. Because if they go through the steps properly, let me review it, look over the application, help them through the process, it's a real high chance of success. But let's say you don't get approved the very first application. We're going to give you a full entire year. You might get, let's say, 3 applications sent off in the next year. I mean, look at one of my examples I showed you. She got 5 different grants approved in her first month of coming up. She applied to 5 grants. All 5 got approved in her first month with us. And so, I mean, the only real thing that's going against you is if you give up. If you get the course and don't do anything, that would not be good, because you're not going to go anywhere in life with that way. But if you get started with me, reach out to me, let me help you do this. We'll get you the funding. We'll show you how to do this. And don't be someone who quits or gives up too easily. If you find a particular grant I sent to you isn't really appropriate for you for whatever reason, don't think that your consulting is a one question only deal. You get an unlimited amount of back and forth with me, as much of me as you need for a full year. Utilize my consulting. You're going to get a welcome email from me right away when you order the course, which details how to get a hold of me for consulting questions, how to get a hold of my team for customer service questions. You'll get that right away. Now to contact Kendall, everyone here should have your email. Is that true from the last few days?
Yeah, just respond to the email you registered with. I'll get you no problem. I've emailed a couple people here, so they should be good. But yeah, no, totally awesome, Chris. I love the part about you. It's a no-brainer. I mean, really, truly, if you're able to get the education and get the grant, scholarship, whatever, and show proof of that within a year, that's amazing. That's for free. That's amazing, Chris. And that's truly a lot of those pictures you see. I truly do know a lot of those people there on your slides there, Chris. And that's a lot of them because they got scholarships and loans in the first year, right, Chris?
That's right. I mean, I try to use your clients from your events so people who are at your event can relate a little bit more. Definitely. Yeah, and a lot of people are asking about the Grant Locator example. Is that a separate program? The Grant Locator works with it. It's like the icing on the cake, so to speak. It's the It's the a la mode to the apple pie. The Grant Locator is the continuing, ongoing information I keep giving you every month of new real estate, new business, new education topics, new programs. My client interviews of grants they receive. They tell you exactly what they did to apply. You get half a dozen topics every month that you can listen to online streaming, or play the CD in your car, whatever it is you have a CD player with. And now we give you the first one included with your package. So you get the grant program, what you're seeing on the screen here, plus your very first Grant Locator, no shipping cost. Then you get your next Grant Locator comes next month. Now we do the billing cycle for the Grant Locator is on the first of the month. So no matter today we're at the middle of March, I guess it is, almost the 10th of March. So April 1st will be your first $6 charge, and then again on May 1st. And you cancel if you want to. Just say, Chris, don't love it, don't want it. No, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love the Grant Locator. But if you didn't, you just say don't love it, don't want it. You're off the list. You'll never see another charge again. And the Grant Locator is so awesome because when you get to your third month, where you get 50% discount of the $79 down to $39, which includes tax and shipping, you get the entire online library of 10 years worth of Grant Locator topics. 10 years of, people spend tens of thousands of dollars on real estate courses. I'm giving you more than you would get in your typical real estate course for free, because the real estate topics alone over 10 years add up to more than the typical real estate course would. As does my business, as does my education. You get all of this. It's a massive amount of stuff. So, it's basically in value worth over $10,000. You don't pay for it. It's yours for free. And it all comes with the Grant Locator. So the program here is worth $4,000. The consulting is worth $10,000. The Grant Locator is worth over $10,000 with that extra bonus in there. It is just a huge value here. All you're paying, because I'm picking in the first $1,000 below my cost of grant money I've got access to. So I'm actually going into the hole here in a certain sense, covered with grant monies. So all you cover is $1,497, and that's guaranteed. You get that back 100% for a full year. So you're going to love this program. You're going to love the help we provide you. And
you've had a lot of new stuff in there, Chris. I feel like that's incredible. I didn't know you had access to all that information online as much as you have. That's amazing. Thank you.
Yes. And Carl's asking, do I have a training seminar? The answer is yes, I do. In fact, I do. These 2-hour quick start trainings from time to time. So once you get your course in your hand, we kind of get started on the consulting. I'm going to make an announcement here where in a couple of weeks, I'll be doing a quick start to grant training course one evening. I can get going with you quickly on some stuff as well. Kendall, that guarantee you've never heard that before. That's why you look at the blank look in your face. So it's I do those from time to time. I don't really promise those up front, but since Carl asked, yes, Carl, I'm going to give you a quick start. It's not a 3-day like Kendall and Don did. That's a lot of information there. It's just a couple hours of quick start. You're going to find the best benefit is a one-on-one consulting, but the quick start will get you going quickly, of course, as well. But I'll let you know more about that once we get all the orders placed and shipped and received, and kind of get people going there the first couple of weeks. I'll tell you more about that pretty soon.
You're a good guy, Chris. Well, thank you so much. That really is nice. You're kind of giving a lot of different bonuses that I'm not aware of. That's brand new stuff. Thank you so much.
Kendall, that's because I've got a good wife that trained me how to be.
Oh, I know Nikki, so that's really nice.
You know Nikki, yes.
All right, that's really cool. Well, thank you so much. I really do endorse the program. The thing is, like I said, we know personally a lot of people have done this. We've got grants, loans, and scholarships. It's something we're always looking at, always thinking about, and always working on here at Protect Wealth too. And that's why we have Chris on, because we feel like a lot of you are already in business. You need business loans. A lot of you have kids in college, grandkids in college, scholarships in school, things like that. A lot of you private school. That's a big one. We see a lot of those. And then I've seen a lot of the residential assisted living, things like that, especially niche real estate and things like that. We have seen loans and scholarships.
We just lost you, Kendall. Are you back there? Let me address Carl for a second. Carl, I think I've confused him. I mentioned 3 days like your seminar. Mine is not 3 days, it's 2 hours, Carl. So mine is 2 hours. And once you get my course, I'll let you know when it's going to be. So you've got your books, you've got your CDs. We're going to go through 2 hours, and I'm going to take you online. We're actually going to do grant application. We're going to do downloads of applications and filling out forms. It's really cool. You're going to love that. But we'll wait to get the course in your hands first. So it's 2 hours. Don and Kendall's Protect Wealth event, that was the 3-day one. You've already finished doing that one. Awesome. Craig, you can email me right away if you want to. So the manuals and CDs are there. That I showed an example there earlier of Tom, who received $100,000 in 7 days. He didn't ask me for any help. He opened the business manual, flipped to a program that was an online application, flipped to the how to apply manual, read the online application process steps in the how to apply manual, applied in 1 day, got the $100,000 within 7 days. Then he told me what he was doing after he already got the money. So yeah, I mean, you could do it like that, yes, or you could just ask me for help as well, and I can do some of the work for you too. It's great. So yeah, so John, yeah, we'll insurance is one thing. Grants is a whole different thing. So if you've got an insurance claim that you can apply to, great, get your insurance done, whether it's fire, flood, or hurricane, or whatever it is. And then, but the grant monies is different. So we'll do the grant monies as well. And if it's stuff that is insurance related, what's not covered, then potentially the grant could cover that too. So
yeah, and we see a lot in real estate, a lot of the efficiency stuff. So a lot of the upgrades you do to a lot of real estate rentals, we've seen multifamily, things like that. I know we've talked to a lot of students have done this. We've got grants on upgrading, I don't know, maybe it's air conditioning, HVAC, whatever. If it's more efficient, there are grants and things for that for conversions. And yeah, we've seen a lot of those.
That's true. And more probably what John might be alluding to is, for example, there's a natural disaster, whether it's a hurricane, fire, flood, tornado. And we see all those things all the time, more frequently seems nowadays. A lot of jurisdictions, whether it's a state government or whatever, or federally will create a disaster grant, which provides funding to homeowners to rebuild or business owners to rebuild after a natural disaster. It's very localized for people who are affected by that particular disaster. For example, Hurricane Katrina, a lot of our clients who were down in the Gulf Coast took advantage of these programs. It was disaster relief funding that was created federally. That got them up and running. And that's a lot of the grants that they got as well. So cool.
I forgot about that.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a lot of, I forgot about that. It probably is a lot. We do see some of those too. Yeah. Craig's saying awesome, Chris. He's saying it's a blessing and possibility to open up doors. I totally agree with that. So many real estate investors we work with, like he says, he's talking about people with disabilities, maybe multifamily homes, that sort of thing. Wow, that absolutely, there's possibilities there. So, and
awesome.
Consulting is via email, like you said. I agree with that, Chris. It is much more efficient that way. And you have a team there that will actually help answer questions on email. It's so much more efficient and more clear generally.
I tried phone consulting for the first year and I almost jumped off the building. No kidding.
It's hard.
It was a lot of, it's been like a week trying to connect with someone, and then they had to go after 5 minutes because something happened. And none of us remembered what the other one talked about a week later. Oh yeah, so it's bonkers. So email, you can ask questions any time of day. You get an answer really quickly back from me, typically the very next day or even a couple hours. You'll get a detailed answer with all your questions answered. Plus 6 months later, we know exactly what we're talking about, 3 months ago or 6 months ago.
Plus you can link directly to websites, different resources.
Links and downloads. Yeah, it's way more efficient.
You're speaking my language, Chris. I love that too.
Cool. All
right. Awesome, Chris. Thank you so much again for your time. I really do appreciate it. I know we're kind of getting close to the time to wrap up here, but I would 100% stand behind Chris on this. We love it. We have a lot of experience. Gosh, how long have we known you now, Chris? Is it like it probably is going on close to 8-10 years at least that I've known you.
Not long enough. Not long enough.
More with Don. So Don and I were talking about that the other day. We've known you well, but thank you so much for your time tonight, Chris. Anything else before we wrap up?
No, thanks for having me on, and thanks you guys for watching me and hanging out with Leanne here, getting your questions answered. Don't miss out. This is life-changing money. You're not going to regret this. This is amazing. We love to help people out, but go to protectwealth.com/grants, and there you'll see the whole offer detail. I explain the bonuses on there clearly. If it's still showing the $14.97, and the bonus of the consulting, it'll say right there that it's included. That means you got it. So you can rest easy. And of course, the email will confirm that you'll get that as well. But if
Well, you're pretty generous because I know those go pretty fast when you open those up. So thank you for doing that, Chris.
For sure. But this 20, I noticed from experience, won't last forever. We're going to save a couple of those 20s for the people who are emailing you with delayed payment situations or multiple cards. But email Kendall tonight. Like, don't email Kendall next week. Email him tonight. Yep. And then Kendall will let me know who you are as well. We'll take care of you. Awesome.
We'll coordinate.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Chris. Really do appreciate it. Anybody else, let us know if you have any questions. Happy to help you. Please give us a call or shout out. Chris, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it. Have a great night. Good to see you again.
Perfect. Thanks guys. Everybody. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.